Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're connecting from. You're welcome to this live stream. If you can hear me loud and clear, please drop a comment. If you can hear me loud and clear, please drop a comment. Good morning, Mr. Joseph. You're welcome to today's live stream. Confirm you can hear me loud and clear. Also confirm you can see my screen. Confirm you can hear me loud and clear. Also confirm you can see my screen. You're welcome. You're welcome. So let's start by looking at the calendar for the day. Okay. Today is the 3rd of February 2026. And what do we have today? Okay, Australia released its catch rate data that was around 4:30 a.m. And I think the news was positive for the Australian dollar. And I think it's positive for Australian dollar. That's the reason Australian dollar pairs, like Australian dollar USD, Australian card, has been bullish, and Euro Australian dollar and GBP Australian dollar has been bearish. Um, the United States will be releasing its job openings, but time has not been given for that. No specific time for that. I think US government data may be impacted by the shutdown. Tentative events are subject to delay, revision, or cancellation. Okay, so the probability that this news will be released today is slim. Okay. Then by 10:45 p.m., New Zealand will be releasing its employment change and unemployment rate. So you want to avoid New Zealand pairs today. Avoid New Zealand pairs today. Avoid New Zealand pairs today. Okay, so that's it for today. So let's go to the charts. Let's start by analyzing the dollar. The dollar was bullish yesterday, or through yesterday. The dollar was bullish, and I believe the dollar is still bullish. The dollar is still bullish. Dollar is likely going to come to this zone. It's likely coming to this zone. So every sell will be reversal. Okay, every sell on the dollar will be a reversal. Always look for buy opportunity. Look for buy opportunity. So dollar is bullish, but I would have loved to see dollar retrace back to fill this fair value gap. I would have loved to see it pull back to fill the fair value gap. It has tested it this morning. I'd love to see it come fill this fair value gap before going bullish. I'd love to see it come fill this value gap before it's bullish. I believe if you go to lower time frame, there is a bullish reversal pattern on a lower time frame. I think that is just to entice retail traders to buy. Okay, so you can see here we had a spinning bottom, a spinning bottom. I feel they intentionally did not fill this gap. They intentionally did not fill this gap. Okay, so I would love them to come and fill this gap before going bullish. Okay, so my bias for the dollar today is bullish. I still want to see price pull back into this zone before going bullish on the dollar. So if you have any question or pair you want me to analyze, please let me know in the comment section. If you have any pair you want me to analyze or you have any question, just drop it in the comment section. So my bias for the dollar is bullish. Let's see yen baskets. Okay. Let's start with the daily, or let's start with the weekly. Wow. Wow. So As you can see, yen is bearish. Yen is bearish. Last week candle closed as a shooting star. I think after it filled the fair value gap, let's see. Okay, after it filled this fair value gap, a shooting star candle formed on the weekly time frame. You can see, and I shared this with you guys last week that I want to see yen pull back to fill this fair value gap. You can see, that was achieved last week. So yen is bearish at the moment. It is bearish at the moment. I think yen is coming for this low. Yen is coming for this low. So look for buys on yen pairs. Look for buys on yen pairs. Look for buys on yen pairs. Good morning, Ma. Thanks for joining. Daniel, good morning. If you have any question or pair you want me to analyze, let me know. Okay, so for yen, I am bearish on yen. You can see the pattern we had here on yen. This is where the sell started from. We had a spinning top and we had an engulfing candle. This is where the bearish move. So this would have been the best price to sell. This would have been the best price to sell. Now, if you had missed this first ride, you had another opportunity after this price pullback. After this pullback to this level, that is when you should have entered the trade. You can see. So it is still bearish. It's coming for that low. It is coming for that low. It is coming for that low. So keep selling yen until it gets. This will be the first target, this fair value gap. This will be the first target, this fair value gap. Then if price breaks out from this fair value gap, we expect it to sweep this liquidity. There are a lot of stop loss orders residing at this point. Okay, so that's it for yen. I am bearish on yen today. EU, gold, all right, gold, EU, all right. So let's look, let me use M244. Okay, so for GBP USD, since our bias for the dollar is bullish, we should look for sales. We should look for sales. You can see the bias is bearish. The bias is bearish, okay? It is bearish, so we should look for sales. We should look for sales. Let's see the daily. Daily candle closed. Yesterday was strongly bearish. It was bearish, but before the market closed, we saw a reversal on GBP USD. So a reversal on GBP USD, and right now I think it's about to continue with the bearish move. It's about to continue with the bearish move. Okay, so you could patiently wait. I think a fair value gap was created here, and I think they filled that fair value gap after this engulfing pattern. I think a fair value gap was created. So you can see the fair value gap that was created here. Can you see it? That could be the reason for the pullback. You can see this fair value gap. That could be the reason for the pullback. Or if you go down to lower time frame, like 15 minutes, there's still a fair value gap above this one on the 1 hour time frame. I think it's the reason for the let's see, 5 minutes. Okay, so that could be the reason. Now it's selling right now, so it's bearish. It's bearish. GBP USD is bearish. But I would advise you patiently wait for the current 4 hour to close. Patiently wait for the current 4 hour to close. If current 4 hour candle will close by 11, I would advise you patiently wait for the candle to close before you take a trade on GBP USD. Patiently wait for the candle to close on 4 hour before you take the trade. Okay, patiently wait for this to close before you take a sell. EU also, the bias is bearish. The bias is bearish. Okay, I would have loved to see EU fill this fair value gap. It has not filled this fair value gap. I would have loved EU to fill this fair value gap. Okay, but patiently wait. Let's see how the current 4 hour candle will close. Patiently wait for this current 4-hour candle to close before you take a trade on yen, on euro USD. I mean, wait for this candle to close. Okay, wait for this candle to close before you take a sell, a 4-hour candle. Okay, that's my take on euro USD. I am still very bearish on euro USD. I'm still very bearish on euro USD, but I would still love euro USD to pull back, probably to this our entry level one or entry level two. Entry level one, entry level two. That would be a good time to consider selling euro USD. USJPY bullish. See, that's giving us the bias to be bullish. Just take your buy on. Okay, it's a buy. It's a buy. It's a buy. It's a buy. It's a buy on UJ. It's a buy. Okay, UJ is a buy. But I would have loved UJ to pull back to this zone. Yeah, this fair value gap here. Let me see. So if I'm going to take this trade from the current market price now, if I'm going to take this trade, stop loss below this area, that would be about 70 pips. Yeah, it has to be below this fair value gap because they might still want to push price down here. And if I'm risking 70 pips, I want to aim for this fair value gap close to 200 pips, 70 to 200. That's a good risk reward. That's a good risk reward. So I'll patiently wait for the current 4-hour candle to close. I'll patiently wait for the current 4-hour candle to close. Wow, wow. I see a very nice setup on UJ. I see a very nice setup on UJ, but I'll patiently wait for the current 1-hour and 4-hour candle to close. Okay. Gold. Let's look at gold. Gold is bearish. My bias for gold is still bearish. My bias for gold is bearish. Okay, gold has been bullish since the market opened today. Congratulations to those who caught this move. Okay, but long term, I still believe gold it has done over, just today, gold has done over 2,798. And as you can see, it is above the daily ATR value. It will not be wise for you to start buying gold from the current market price because it has delivered above. You can see the average, the daily average range value is 2,213 pips, 2,213 pips, and gold has done over 2,800 pips. You can't be buying from the current market price. You can't buy from the current market price. Okay, so I expect sell on gold anytime soon. I expect sell on gold anytime soon, and hopefully before the weekends, gold might come for this low. The liquidity residing at this low. That is my take on gold. You can't buy gold now. So if this 4-hour candle closes bearish, one can risk selling gold. One can risk selling gold. But remember, gold is very volatile. You cannot be using 20, 40, 50 pips for gold. You cannot be using 20, 50 pips for gold. At the moment, considering gold volatility, your stop loss should not go below 300 pips is even small. 300 pips is small. Your risk should be between 500 and 600 pips on gold. 500, 600 pips, because in a day, the average daily range of gold is, the average daily range of gold you can see is 2,213 pips. 2,213 pips. So you cannot be risking 50 pips, 100 pips for a market that has a range of 2,213 pips. It means you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're doing. If you're using 50 pips. If you're even using 50 pips, your own is still better than someone that does not use stop loss at all. It's still better. You at least you apply stop loss. But for those who don't use stop loss, I pity you. I pity you. If you're trading good and you don't use stop loss, you shouldn't be trading. You shouldn't be trading. So that's my take on gold. I expect gold to sell. Sell. And if I'm selling gold, my first target will be this fair value gap. That will be my first target for gold, this fair value gap. So let's assume this candle has closed and I decide to sell gold. Let's assume from this point, you can see the high of this candle, you can see the high of this candle will be the reasonable level to use as my stop loss, right? And just from this point to this point, this little tiny wick you see is about 444 pips. 444 pips. So my stop loss should be at least few pips above. So my stop loss will be about 600. If I'm missing 600 from that point to this point, and that's about 1 ratio 3 or 4. Yeah, close to 1 ratio 4. No, so, yeah, close to 1 ratio 3. 1 ratio 3. This is about 1,800 pips, and I'm risking 600. That's about 1 ratio 3 risk reward, which is okay. Okay, so that's my take on gold. That's GBPCHF. Okay, Mr. Sam, GBPCHF. New chart. GBPCHF. That should be on crosses. Okay, let's see GBPCHF. 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 Let me start with the weekly. I've not looked at GBP. Ah, this is a buy. This is a buy. It's a buy. Bias is bullish. You can see our bias is bullish. It's a buy. Keep buying, 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 buying until the bias changes to bearish. If the bias does not change to bearish, it is still bullish. But one would have entered earlier. One would have entered earlier. But it's still not too late. Let me see. It's a buy. But you should have entered earlier. Okay, yesterday was bullish. Yesterday was strongly bullish. So patiently, you could, but it's buy. It's buy. Okay, it's a buy. Let's see what's happening on 4 hour. Okay. Okay, wait for this 4 hour candle to close. Okay, wait for the 4 hour candle to close. The bias is buy. It is buy, but wait for the current 4 hour candle to close. Or we should wait for price to pull back to discount area. Wait for price to pull back to a discount area before you see this fair value gaps here. This fair value gap, you might want to wait for price to pull back. You can see our entry level 1 and entry level 2. Let the market come and test these areas, these zones, these levels before you look for buys. Okay, so going by the weekly time frame, the bias is bullish. You can see what played out here. Price was bullish from this point, and what happened? Price retraced back to a discount. Apply your Fibonacci from this swing low to this swing high. You can see price pulled back to a discount area, and from that discount, it's taking off. You can see that it's taking off from that discount. So it's bullish. It's bullish. GJ is bullish. GJ is bullish. Euro Australian dollar is still bearish. Still bearish. Once the bias changes from bearish, now this is not the right time to sell because this sell was generated from this point. This is where you should have entered sell. So if you didn't sell from this point, you cannot sell from this point. For those of you that have this software, I told you guys, once the market has moved 100 pips from the level you're supposed to have entered the trade, don't take the trade. Don't take the trade. Once the market has done over 100 pips, before you execute any trade, wait for price to reverse. Okay, and the reversal, I told you, it should be between the range of the ATR half and the daily ATR. It should be between this range, the ATR half and the daily ATR. That is when you will now consider entering or joining the trend. I hope that is clear. I hope that is clear. So I'm still waiting for a bullish setup on Euro Australian dollar. Once the daily candle closes bullish, that will be the right time to sell. Okay, the candle should close bullish, or the next day candle should open above the average price of the previous day candle. That is when you should look for entry on Euro Australian dollar. USD CHF also is bullish. New Zealand is bearish, but like I said, you can avoid New Zealand USD because of the major news that will be released by 10:45 p.m. Nigerian time. Okay, you could ignore New Zealand USD. Australian dollar USD bearish. I think Australian dollar USD, as you can see, if the current 4-hour candle closes a a shooting star, it closes as a shooting star, you could risk selling. You could risk selling. But best time to execute sell, as you can see, price is at a premium. Price is at a premium, and the best time to execute the sell trade would be when the bias changes to bearish. So for those of you who have the software, I would advise that you patiently wait for the daily candle to close. Wait for the daily candle to close before you sell. Most likely, at the end of the day, the bias will change from bullish to bearish. Wait for this bias to change. Price is already at premium, which signals sell. But you should patiently wait for these bias to change to bearish before you sell. I hope that is clear. I hope that is clear. Okay. If at all you want to go in after the close of this candle, after the close of this 4-hour candle, if it closes as a shooting star and you want to sell it, get the midpoint of this candle, get the midpoint, because as you can see, if you apply a Fibonacci on the chart, you can see price is truly at a premium area. You can see, and on the dashboard here, you can see it's confirmed that price is at a premium area, but bias is still bullish, so we need to wait for a bearish setup, and this will be confirmed after the close of the daily candle. I hope that is clear. I hope that is clear. So for Australian dollar USD, Euro USD, USD, NZ USD, we are looking for sales, but we need to wait for the right time and price to execute the trade. Any question? Any question? I think that will be all for this session. Do you have any question? Do you have any question? Do you have any question? For those of you with the software, we'll be having a meeting tonight. We agreed I'll be meeting between, is it 10, 11 p.m. tonight? So ensure you attend the class. Ensure you attend the class. Any question, any question, any question, any question? If you have any question, let me know in the comment section. Any question, any question. Any question, let me know. Let me know if you have any question. Any question? Is there any other pair you want me to analyze? Please give the video a thumbs up if you haven't done that, and if it's your first time joining the live stream, please do subscribe to the channel so that anytime I come on live, you get notified by YouTube. I want to appreciate every one of you for your participation, Mr. Joseph, Chibuzo, Daniel, and Mr. Sam. I appreciate you all for your participation, and I wish you all a profitable trading day. Bye for now.